welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded eyeshadow palette. If you do want to see a review and a demo, please keep watching. Here's what the packaging looks like. It says Urban Decay Naked Reloaded, and then on the back you do have some of the eyeshadow names and the ingredients. This eyeshadow palette retails for $44 at Ulta and Sephora and UrbanDecayCosmetics.com. I definitely think you can find this eyeshadow palette in Macy's and Nordstrom as well. Pretty sure I did see that on the website. Let's open up the eyeshadow palette and dive right in. It does have like this velvety cushion effect to it. It's super soft, super squishy. It does have a little bit of plush to it, which I really do like, especially when you are traveling, so that way it doesn't damage your eyeshadows. So let's open this up. I didn't even peek inside because I wanted to do it on camera with you guys. One thing that you don't get with this eyeshadow palette is a brush, but that's okay with me, so let's get on to the swatches. The first shade in the eyeshadow palette is called Bribe, and it's an ivory matte shade. Ooh, it's so creamy in the pan. Let's see how she swatches. Ooh, nice and buttery. So here's that shade in Bribe. Next shade in the eyeshadow palette is called Barely Baked, and it's this metallic gold shade. Not as creamy as the first shadow, but look at that intense pigment. Very intense. I would love this shade in the inner corner or all over the lid. The third shade in the eyeshadow palette is called Angel Fire, and it's a rose gold with an iridescent shimmer. I'm interested to see what this looks like. It's a little bit scratchy in the pan. It's actually a really pretty shade. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but it does have a little bit of iridescent to it. And it does have a little shimmer in it too. Fourth shade in this eyeshadow palette is called Retro, and it's this peachy matte shade. Again, very creamy like the first shadow that we did swatch. That shadow would be a great transition shadow. The fifth shadow in this eyeshadow palette is called Reputation. It's supposed to be a deep rose gold, and it does have an iridescent shimmer. It does have a little bit of that iridescent shift to it. The next shadow is called Burn, and this shadow is supposed to be a copper-burgundy shade. Here we have that beautiful copper-burgundy metallic. Again, very pigmented. Love that. The next shade is called Endgame, and it's a dark chocolate brown matte. I love having transition shades like this in my eyeshadow palette, and look how pigmented that is. You can always use a chocolate brown matte shade for anything. You can use it for an eyeliner. You can use it for a blown out smoky eye. It is a really, really nice shade to have, especially in a good neutral eyeshadow palette. The next shade is called Dreamweaver, and this is a cool brown with an iridescent shimmer. That's very, very nice. This shadow to me is more of a pigment than a shadow because it is a little bit chunkier when I did swatch it, but look at that pigment payoff. It is gorgeous. The next shadow is called Distilled, and this is a bronze metallic shadow. The next shade we have is called Bucked. This is a warm brown matte shade. Again, very creamy in the pan. I love when eyeshadows are creamy. That means they can blend very nicely on the lid. Can barely see the shade in Buck because it does blend in with my skin complexion, but it's there, and I definitely think I would use this for a transition shade. The second to last shade in this eyeshadow palette is called Boundary. This is a terracotta matte shade. Again, very creamy. It is gorgeous, and it was very creamy when swatched, and it blends out nicely too. These two shades in Bucked and Boundaries would be great transition shades for me. And the last shade in this eyeshadow palette is called Blur, and this is a nude matte shadow. Here we have all 12 shades swatched on the back of my hand. It's very glittery and metallic, and then we also have some pops of iridescent. I'm excited to see how these do blend on the eyelids, so let's go ahead and create an eyeshadow look using this palette. I did purchase this eyeshadow palette from Ulta Beauty. They did also have some free gifts inside. I did get this Perversion volumizing mascara. I did try out this mascara before and I did remember I loved it, but I just never repurchased. And then I also did get the Urban Decay priming potion. I've never tried this out before and I'm super excited that I did get this in the little sample. It does give you here a little example using the primer potion, like how long your eyeshadow lasts, and then without using it. But who wears their eyeshadow for 24 hours? Not me. Here's a little deluxe size sample of the primer potion. It doesn't come with a little wand, which I thought it would, but it's still cute. Hopefully it works. I'm just gonna take a little bit on my finger. Here's what it looks like. I'm not sure why I smelled it, but I'm just gonna apply some on the back of my hand just to show you guys. It does dry down clear. We have that primer potion set down. Take a little bit, like just that one drop. I'm gonna apply it on one eye and then on the other, and we're just gonna apply the primer on my lids. I feel like this one has a little bit more than the other eye. It did feel a little bit sticky when you do apply it, but then after that it does dry down completely matte. Now that we have the primer potion applied, I'm going to be applying the mascara later on when we're done with the look. I currently don't have any mascara on my eyelashes. So now we're going to create a look using this eyeshadow palette. I am going to be grabbing the shade in Bucked, which is this shadow right here. It's the third shade in the palette. I'm just going to be grabbing that shade on a large fluffy brush. I'm going to be blending that all over my crease. I have not removed the film from the mirror yet, so let's see how this mirror looks like. Ooh, the mirror looks decent. I'm really loving the mirror. I don't want to blind you guys, but I do want to show you guys what the mirror looks like. It is pretty decent. I'm just going to be applying that all over my crease. Since the shade does kind of match my skin complexion, it's probably not going to show up, but that's okay. At least we have a nice transition shadow. And I'm doing some circular motions. Since the shade does kind of match my skin complexion, it's probably not going to show up, but that's okay. At least we have a nice transition shadow. That way you can see the color. Oh, actually we can see some pigmentation. I was wrong. I thought this would be a nice transition shadow, but I don't want to go really smoky with it either. So I'm just going to take a little bit more and just blend that on this side. I really do like how the shade in Buck did blend out. I'm going to be grabbing the next shade next to Buck, and it's Boundaries. On that same fluffy brush, I'm going to be applying that right where the outer V is. That way we can add a little bit more light into this dark shade. I'm loving how these two shadows just blend so well together. What I'm really looking for in any eyeshadow palette that I do purchase is blendability and pigmentation. So far the pigmentation is there, the blendability is there. We're going to move on to some of the metallic shadows since we tried two of the matte shadows. Let's see, I do want to try maybe Barely Baked or Angel Fire. I do want to see this iridescent shift color. So I'm going to be grabbing my packer brush. It's dry, I don't have anything on it. I'm going to be grabbing the shade in Angel Fire. I'm just going to be applying this on the center of my eye. Like I said, this brush is dry. And I'm glad that it's not that wham bam, like pout in your face. But I do like how subtle it does look. And on this eye, I am going to be applying that shadow wet. So we're going to see what the difference does look like. I'm loving this little bit of rose goldy shade on the lid. Looks really nice. So now I'm just going to be spraying my brush. I do want to see what that looks like. I'm just going to be taking that and applying that on this side of the lid. I don't know, you guys. I prefer this shadow dry for some reason. That's okay. We're just going to make sure these shades match up. I'm just going to be taking this teeny tiny brush. And you guys know I love this shadow in Barely Baked. I'm going to be taking a little bit of that on this teeny tiny brush. And I'm going to be applying that in my inner corner. I am loving the simple neutral eyeshadow look. You guys, I am loving this eyeshadow palette so far. I do have a lot of warm palettes in my collection, but I don't have a neutral eyeshadow palette. I can say that from my collection personally, because I've decluttered so many eyeshadow palettes that I don't use anymore. It's something that I don't have in my collection, and I'm glad to have this staple piece in my collection. I can see myself reaching for this eyeshadow palette. I'm not done with my look just yet. I do want to apply the Urban Decay Perversion Volumizing Mascara. I haven't tried out this mascara in a while. I'm just gonna be applying that on the lashes. You guys know that I don't use falsies. I'd rather build up my mascara. I really do like this mascara. With that shadow in Angel Fire, I did have a little bit of fallout, a little bit of glitter specks. Just going to dust it away. Here's a close-up of what the eyeshadow looks like. I really do like the pigmentation, the blendability, and I can definitely see myself using this eyeshadow palette. Whenever I want the eyes to kind of talk for itself, I just want to kind of mute the lips a bit. I'm not sure if I should use the shade in Mac Whirl. Let's see what this looks like. Mac Whirl never fails me. I really do love this eyeshadow look that I created just using just a couple of shadows. I will continue using this eyeshadow palette. I really do love it. If you guys enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe.